Today we're doing class week 8.6. Today we're doing double angle formulas. So I'll write that on top for you. Double angle formulas. So this is the next phase of the formulas we're working with. For now, our goal is to figure out what is sine of 2 theta and what is cosine of 2 theta. So first, let's actually derive them. If you think about sine of 2 theta, that's the same thing as saying sine of theta plus theta. Now what we're going to do is think of this as like alpha and beta, like how we were doing in our, or how we're working with our sum and difference formulas. So let's write that out. Sine alpha, or theta, cosine beta, which is theta, plus cosine alpha, and then sine beta. So notice how they all line up, and notice how they're both equal, which means we can condense that to 2 sine theta cosine theta. So right there, we actually just derived it. That is 2 sine theta cosine theta. Now you don't have to know the derivation, but it is helpful to know that on a test or quiz, so that way you can just derive it, because all of you should have the sum formula memorized by now. So for cosine, let's try it. I'll do that in blue for you. Cosine of 2 theta, that's cosine of theta plus theta. So that's going to be cosine theta minus sine theta. So we simplify. That's cosine squared theta minus sine squared theta. So there we go. There is our cosine formula. Okay, now the cosine one is actually unique. There are 2 more versions of it. There is a 1 minus 2 sine squared theta, and there's a 2 cosine squared theta minus 1. Now those are all equivalent, and if you're wondering where that came from, just remember this note, cosine squared is equal to 1 minus sine squared, and sine squared is 1 minus cosine squared. So just remember that on the side, and that should make it more apparent as to why the other forms exist. Okay, so far those are the formulas. Now you'll notice that these are actually a lot easier than the problems we did last class, because if we look at that first question, sine theta is 3 over 5, theta is between pi over 2 and pi. We obviously know we got to draw a triangle, but notice how there's only one triangle. That's pretty convenient. That would mean the triangle is in quadrant 2, so let's just draw that out. The opposite is 3, hypotenuse is 5, that makes that -4, let's call that theta. To figure out sine of 2 theta, look at the formula. 2 sine theta cosine theta. Plug it in. 2 sine theta is 3 over 5. Cosine theta, -4 over 5. Multiply, -24 over 25. So look how easy that was, no problem. Cosine 2 theta. I recommend memorizing the first one, cosine squared minus sine squared, because it's pretty easy to derive the other two if you were to need them using this main one. And now I just figured out. Cosine theta, that's -4 over 5, we're going to square that, minus sine theta, which is 3 over 5, square that. That's 16 over 25 minus 9 over 25, which is 7 over 25. Done. And there it is. Okay, we'll get to part C in a little bit. Before that, it says establishing identities is figure out tan 2 theta. So over here, let's just write this tan theta plus theta. So let's write out tan theta plus tan theta, all divided by 1 minus tan theta times tan theta. Now, if you're wondering how I did that, just recall tan a plus b that's simply tan A plus tan B all over 1 minus tan A times tan B. Now we simplify, that's simply 2 tan theta over 1 minus tan squared theta. And there it is. So now let's try that formula on the final part. So the formula for C, and I recommend you guys write the formulas each time because that way helps you remember them. 2 tan theta over 1 minus tan squared. So that's going to be 2. Tan theta is 3 over negative 4, or negative 3/4. And then divide that by 1 minus 3 over negative 4 squared. Okay, now when you're working on this, I really want you guys to highlight. Make sure you start working right here. That way it'll minimize your error. So the top, don't worry about that. The bottom, 1 minus, let's square that, that's positive 9 over 16. And the top, we can reduce that now. That crosses out, so that's 3 over, or negative 3 over 2. Okay, and once you have a complex fraction, I recommend you get rid of all the complex fractions. So multiply by the common denominator, which is just 16 over 16. So now we get negative 24 all over 16 minus 9, which leads us to the answer, which is negative 24 over 7. And there it is. Now, the one thing we could have done to make this a lot simpler, and you could do this on your homework or test or quiz, is notice how we actually knew sine of 2 theta, cosine 2 theta, which means, think about tangent. Tangent of 2 theta must be equal to sine of 2 theta over cosine of 2 theta. So let's plug it in. Negative 24 over 25 over 7 over 25. Look at that. You get the exact same answer, just a little faster. Okay, good job. That's it.